Okay, number 9 is World Kindness Cities. You'll have 3 minutes to, oh, Steve, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. And Shadi, you don't need to get up yet. Anyway, this is a follow-up to a number of agenda items and other items that I've discussed in the recent past, and I told you that this was the beginning of a series of these kind of agenda bills. And I want to start by thanking my council colleagues for having been so supportive. And both Tony and Rob have discussed the issue of civility publicly, and I appreciate that you've been doing that. And I want to thank staff, and particularly the city manager and our assistant city manager, Krista, who have been really bending over backwards to be helpful. Becoming a World Kindness City is not a simple matter of just signing a form. There are a lot of things that we have to do in order to become that. And I will let Krista and then ultimately Shadi and her special guest, Michael, explain more about that. But I just wanted to reiterate the basis of all this. First of all, becoming a World Kindness City, for me, is a piece of a much bigger issue. And so it's great for us to do this. It's great to move forward on, but it's only a beginning. It's not an end. And this is not a simple matter of just let's sign on, become that, and now we don't have to do anything. That is just one piece of something much bigger. What I want to be emphasizing is that not only the anti-bullying stuff and the kids and the internet, but also among adults, we have to learn, again, how to talk to each other, how to have discussions, how to have dialogue. We need to have neighbors treat each other better. We, as council members, see all the time, we'll probably see it again tonight, where we see neighbors who simply don't work together, are uncivil towards each other. There needs to be recognition that on every complex issue, there's legitimacy on each side. And adversaries need to recognize that not only is there merit to what they want, there's merit to what the other side wants as well, and work together to have better solutions. And instead of words like anger and hatred and people screaming and the ends justifying the means and revenge, and we see a lot of revenge go on in this town and coming in front of us, and selfishness, we need to be using words like civility and compassion and kindness and empathy. And so I'm happy to turn it over to Krista in just 1 second, but I want to tell you, again, this is not the end. This is a beginning. I've been asked by the Newport Foundation, which is holding an anti-bullying program in 3 weeks. I've been asked to participate in their roundtable discussion, and I've accepted to do that. And we're going to continue to be seeking these things out. Also, bullet point number 3 on the agenda bill, I intend with Shadi to be going to other cities and county, et cetera, to be urging participation in the World Kindness Program. And just want to emphasize that on bullet point number 2, that I have offered and want to take on the role of being one of the Goodwill ambassadors for the city in doing this. So thank you for your attention on this, and I'll turn it over to Krista.
Thank you, Councilmember Dicterow. My name is Krista Johnson, Assistant City Manager. The item before you tonight concerns the World Kindness Movement, which seeks to inspire individuals and organizations towards greater kindness. The movement includes 28 nations. And just so you know, at Councilmember Dicterow's request, staff did do a cursory background screening just to make sure this was the organization that would be appropriate for the city to support, and that was satisfactory. In order to pursue designation as a World Kindness USA City, the city needs to adopt a resolution that declares support for a kinder world. That resolution is attached to the agenda bill in your packet. In addition, the city is required to do several other items. Highlights include placing World Kindness Day, which is celebrated on November 13th of every year, onto the city's calendar, to appoint Goodwill ambassadors to identify and support kindness initiatives. And by the way, Councilmember Dicterow has offered to become a Goodwill ambassador. And other activities which would largely be performed by the Goodwill ambassadors, such as Councilmember Dicterow described. In summary, Councilmember Dicterow recommends that the City Council adopt the resolution, also direct the City Manager to pursue designation as a World Kindness USA City, approve a $2,000 contribution using the remaining balance in your annual Community Assistance Grant Fund to purchase kindness cards and authorize the use of the city seal on those cards, and then to place the World Kindness Day on the city's calendar. We are fortunate to have our local resident, Shadi Pourkashef. Hope I did that right, Shadi. And she is a local ambassador for the World Kindness USA organization. And we're honored to be able to welcome the organization's chief advisor to the board, Michael Lloyd-White. They're both here this evening to provide you with comments and answer questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now, we're going to limit it 3 minutes per speaker.
Sure. I want to thank you all for being here. My board members, thank you all for being here. This is an exceptionally important day for all of us. Usually on 9/11, we're all heartbroken. For the past 17 years, we've been heartbroken. But with what you're doing today, you are bringing hope and healing, not just to our community, but to our nation. And I want to thank you for that. Being a Goodwill ambassador for this city is an easy thing to do because you've done the work so much, week after week. The decisions that you've made over the years have been all kind. I just need to document them and lead on the grassroots level, which I'm good at. We need to make sure that everybody's focus is on kindness. With what you're doing today, you're sending a clear and loving message to one another that no matter what your differences of opinion might be, you're going to put kindness first. You're going to treat each other well. And that matters to all of us in this room, to our children, to our community, and it's rippling out already, and it's beautiful. I'm very proud of what you've done so far. Thank you so much for accepting me in this role of leading the Kindness Initiative in town. And also thank you, Steve Dicterow, councilman, for all your support and passionate belief in what we do and to make this happen. Levin and Dicterow are the first law firm in the US that have signed with the World Kindness, because that shows everyone that you can still be firm, no pun intended, and say what you need to say with kindness. Thank you so much for the $2,000 grant. We're gonna raise the rest and make sure that we print the kindness cards as well. I'd like to introduce my friend, the Chief Advisor to the Board of World Kindness USA and the immediate past Secretary General of the Global Movement, Mr. Michael Lloyd-White.
Thank you, Shadi. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Gallery. What you do today, on this day, is significant. At the core of this is to be able to ask yourself, what is the kinder option? It's not about hearts and flowers, sugar and spice and all things nice. On this day, it's about the courage to be kind. And there is no act of courage that is not tempered with kindness, because both are selfless. And why do I relate it to this day? Because too often, our leaders find it easier to choose the lesser of two evils. And we know where that ends up. That's a lose-lose. And yes, quite often, the path of most resistance is the kinder option. You have to think outside the square. You have to take your time. You have to be considerate. This journey, for myself, is now on 10 years. And a lot of nations, including China, have signed up. And it's been tremendously exciting. But I stepped down from the Secretary General's role last September on the day that a nuclear device was detonated in response to the call of fire and fury. And I don't believe that detonation was just a test of a nuclear device. I believe it was also a test of a global campaign of fear and hate versus the campaign of the courage to be kind. And you've just, what you do today, have decided to add a critical mass to this campaign so the United States can play a lead role, a significant lead role, as a world influence. We need you. Nobody owns World Kindness USA. There is no founder. If anything, I'm just a facilitator putting the pieces into play. And Laguna Beach, you're a piece that is now on the board and in play. What you do with it and how you do that is totally up to you. But my visits to your city, my third visit this time, have been incredibly encouraging and inspiring. You have got good people here, amazing organisations, and you've got heart. And when you have kindness on the agenda, that becomes a very gentle reminder that we can be better. I thank you for doing this, and I thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you. Open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Council? Steve?
Well, I'll be supporting this tonight, and I want to thank Steve again for taking the lead on this. It goes back a ways for you, and I think it's great for us to take a position like this organization espouses. I'm happy to move the item.
Was that a
Yeah.
motion?
I also
You
want
want
to
to
speak, yeah. I wrote down that the path of most resistance, which is saying it isn't always the easiest thing to do, but it is the most important thing. And before the meeting, Kelly and I were having a little discussion about what it's like in this room and how it's changed maybe over the past year or more, and it doesn't feel like Laguna Beach in here anymore. You know, it's not Jerry Springer, but it isn't Laguna Beach. And hopefully we'll find that people will be more respectful.
Yeah, Steve, thanks for bringing it. I think this is something I will be supporting. It sounds like all your colleagues will be supporting. And, you know, hopefully it will be, as you say, not the end, but a first step to find ways to, you know, improve the goodwill around our city and our region. I think a number of us started through your involvement. You know, this was initially focused on bullying and which is a real issue and continues to be a real issue. And if it even made an impact just in that one area, that would be significant. So thanks again.
Well, and to respond to that, that's the Newport Foundation seminar, so to speak, that they're going to be putting on. That's really exclusively about school-age kids and the anti-bullying and the internet issues. But as Tony said, you know, we have to start here. You know, the old expression in the environmental movement about think globally, act locally, and that's what we can do. And council members and other committee members in the town, whether we want to be or not, are role models for behavior in town. And so it starts with us.
Steve, I'll also be following your footsteps here. And Tony and I were talking about that earlier, that we have seen, you know, Tony's been on a long time and I've been on 12 years, and we've seen a change in the people that come before us over this last year and a half, and attitudes and the way they approach us has really changed. It's kind of like it's throughout the United States. I think we've seen it from the top down, and I think we need to change that. We need to be able to get along more. Laguna, I mean, I've lived here 74 years, and we've always been tight. We stuck together, and it's time to start doing that again because we're going this way now, and we don't need to do that. We need to show this kindness, and we need to work together. As you know, I'll be stepping down in December, but I hope that the people here will start working together and make our town even a better place than it already is. So, do I have a motion?
One last sentence, which is that all issues that come in front of us matter to me, but this one has great emotional importance to me, and I really am grateful to all of you and to staff for being so supportive. I'll move the recommended action.
First, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.